Hello, my dear students. I welcome you all on my YouTube channel, Curious Physics. So, today I am going to start the 8th chapter of your NCERT physics book, and the name of the chapter is Electromagnetic Waves. And as you know, the main purpose of this particular lecture series is to focus on your board exams, mean to say that to get maximum marks in your board exams. Okay. So, in this particular chapter, we will study the basic concept of electromagnetic waves. Mean to say that in this particular chapter we will get to know that if the change in magnetic flux create electric field, then change in electric field electric flux with respect to time also produce magnetic field. Okay, and after that we will basically combine the concepts of electric field and magnetic field, which results in the form of electromagnetic waves. Okay, we know that from you can say from chapter 4, from particular chapter 4, we know that if there is I current is passing through a conductor, that can produce a particular magnetic field under the concept of Biot-Savart's law. We know this particular concept. In this particular chapter, in particular chapter 6, we know that the name of the chapter was electromagnetic induction, and in that particular chapter, under the Faraday's law, we get to know that if there is change in magnetic flux with respect to time, change in magnetic flux can produce induced EMF, or you can say that which can produce a potential difference, and potential difference somehow related to electric field. We have also know this particular concept because integration of EdR is equal to potential difference. Okay, mean to say that if there is a change in magnetic flux, or you can say the change in magnetic field in a particular area with respect to time, it can produce electric field. Now, the reverse of this possible or not, the reverse of this particular concept is possible or not, mean to say that if there is change in electric flux with respect to time can produce magnetic field or not, can produce magnetic field or not. This is the particular concept we are going to study in this particular chapter. Okay, under the concept of displacement current. So the first topic is displacement current. The basic idea is we are going to find a relation in which the change in electric flux will produce a magnetic field. Are you able to understand my point or not? Okay, so first heading is displacement current. In this particular, to find the basic idea of displacement current, we will consider a parallel plate capacitor. Let's say this is a parallel plate capacitor, and this particular parallel plate capacitor is connected to a battery, or you can say potential source. Okay, and this particular battery or this energy source will provide a current which is changing with time. The current is changing with time. Are you able to understand my point or not? So due to this, there is a current Q, positive current Q will accumulate in positive plate and negative in negative side of plate. This is the basic concept of parallel plate capacitor. And also we know that inside this particular capacitor there will be no current. As far as till now we know that there is no current. Okay, but after understanding the concept of this particular displacement current, we get to know that a displacement current will flow inside this particular capacitor. But for now, for our understanding, there is no current. Okay, and this I current which is moving in this particular conductor is known as conduction current, known as IC, or you can say conduction current. Are you able to understand my point or not? Okay, now due to this particular charge accumulation on these particular plates, we know that the electric field inside the capacitor will be sigma by epsilon naught, and sigma is nothing but the surface charge density. Surface charge density, we can also write this at Q by A into epsilon naught, where A is the area of the plate. Let's say A is the area of the plate and D is the distance between the plate. D is the distance between the plates. Are you able to understand my point or not? Now consider the basic three situations. First situation is, let's consider this particular loop 1, this particular closed loop 1, and this particular closed loop 1, let's say this is point P, and IT current is passing. IT current basically means the current is changing with time, so I current is passing through this particular loop. Okay, then according to Ampere circuital law, the magnetic field at particular point P will be what is the value of magnetic field? Okay, then according to Ampere circuital law, magnetic flux is nothing but is equal to mu naught I. I is changing with time. Then the magnetic field is nothing but, you will get the value of magnetic field at point P is mu naught I by 2 pi r. R is the radius of this particular loop. Are you able to understand my point or not? You will get the value of magnetic field at point P. Now in second case, let's consider another surface, another closed loop. Let's say this is the closed loop 2 and P is the part of this particular closed loop. Okay, but there is no current passing through this particular loop 2. There is no current passing through this loop. No current is passing through this loop, passing through this loop. Then according to Ampere circuital law, we will get the magnetic field BDL is equal to mu naught I, but here this I is 0. In this loop I is 0, and you will get the value of magnetic field is equal to 0. In the same way, you can say in third case, we will also get the value of magnetic field at point P is 0, because in this particular loop 3 again no current is flowing. Are you able to understand my point or not? So the point P is same, but in situation 1 there is a value of magnetic field, but in second and third case the magnetic field is 0, which is basically contradictory. Mean to say that after this all the experiments, we will see that this Ampere circuital law is not complete. Ampere circuital law is not complete or incomplete. Are you able to understand my point or not? This Ampere circuital law is not complete, mean to say that there is some terms are missing or something is missing in this particular Ampere circuital law. Okay, so now we have carefully studied this again, the situation inside the capacitor. We know that electric field inside the capacitor is sigma by epsilon naught, which is nothing but Q by A epsilon naught. Okay, are you able to understand my point or not? And this electric field is if you want to find the value of electric flux, then electric flux is E into A. You will get E into A is Q by epsilon naught. Are you able to understand my point or not? E into A is flux, Q by epsilon naught. Okay, then this is electric flux. Then phi E is nothing, charge Q is nothing but I into dt epsilon naught. Then I can be written as are you able to understand my point or not? This particular I will flow or you can say is flowing inside the capacitor, inside the capacitor. So this term, which is basically, we are not writing this term when we are writing this Ampere circuital law. Okay, because mean to say that if there is change in electric flux, there is change in electric flux inside the capacitor or anywhere, change in rate of change of electric flux will produce a current, The important conclusion is rate of change of electric flux with respect to time will produce a current. Are you able to understand my point or not? Mean to say that we are ignoring this particular term. We have considered initially there is no current inside the capacitor, but there is electric flux is changing inside the capacitor. So a current is flowing inside the capacitor. Okay, are you able to understand my point or not? And if this particular current is flowing inside the capacitor, because rate of change of electric field is there, and this particular current which is produced by a rate of change of electric flux is known as displacement current. Are you able to understand my point or not? Now the complete Ampere circuital law is nothing but BDL is equal to mu naught IC, which is nothing but conduction current, plus mu naught epsilon naught d phi E by dt, which is nothing but displacement current. Are you able to understand my point or not? Now outside the capacitor only IC is there, and you can say the conduction current is there. Now we have the confusion is solved at point P. In case 1, the current IC is responsible for magnetic field, and in case 2, the which current is responsible for this magnetic field, that is displacement current. That is basically displacement current. Are you able to understand my point or not? Outside the capacitor, ID is equal to 0, and conduction current is responsible for magnetic field, and inside the capacitor, ID is responsible for magnetic field. Are you able to understand my point or not? And in this particular way, we have also achieved this particular result, that if there is change in electric field with respect to time, it will create a current, and if there is a current, there will be a magnetic field according to Biot-Savart law. Are you able to understand my point or not? So one more conclusion we are able to get: if electric field is changing with respect to time, magnetic field can be produced, not can be, will produce. Magnetic field will produce. Are you able to understand my point or not? Are you able to understand this particular concept or not? If the direction of electric field, let's say at particular point inside, if the direction of electric field is moving from, you can say this is the direction of electric field, and what is the direction of magnetic field? Magnetic field is perpendicular. Magnetic field is perpendicular. You can say inside the paper, inside the paper. Are you able to understand my point or not? Are you able to understand my point or not? We can write also in this way. If you rotate this particular situation and this particular law, this particular equation is known as Ampere-Maxwell equation or Maxwell-Ampere equation. This particular equation is known as Ampere-Maxwell or Ampere-Maxwell equation. Ampere-Maxwell equation. Are you able to understand my point or not? Are you able to understand the basic idea or not? This is the very easy concept. But okay, now can you give me an answer? If there is inside, if I current is, let's say 5 ampere current is flowing outside the capacitor, okay, then what will be the value of displacement current inside the capacitor? The value will be same, because IC is producing, let's say, magnetic field B, and inside the capacitor the IC will be 0, but the value of magnetic field is same, so ID will also be same, because it will producing a same amount of magnetic field. Are you able to understand my point or not? So next is, will produce, now you can say magnetic field and this particular electric field is always perpendicular to each other. One point. Second point, rate of change of magnetic field, rate of change of magnetic field will produce electric field, and reverse is also true. Rate of change of electric field will produce magnetic field. Are you able to understand my point or not? And one more thing, electric field and magnetic field are perpendicular to each other. Okay, and let's say this particular is direction of electric field, this is the direction of electric field. Then can you draw the magnetic field? Magnetic field will be this circle, and here this B, and it is perpendicular to the electric field. This crosses, electric field is away from you. Are you able to understand my point or not? The basic idea is rate of change of electric field or electric flux is also produced a current, and that particular current will produce a magnetic field. Indirectly, the rate of change of electric field produce a magnetic field, and rate of change of magnetic field, which we have studied under Faraday's law, will produce a potential difference or electric field. Okay, these both are, and in every situation these both are will be perpendicular to each other. Are you able to understand my point or not? And now the conclusion, basic conclusion, is known as Maxwell's equation in vacuum. Maxwell equations in vacuum, because this particular, all the equations are responsible for, you can say, to basically to give a relation between electric field and magnetic field, mean to say that both are connected to each other. First equation you know as, this equation you already know, this is basically nothing but Gauss law. Electric flux in a closed surface is equal to Q by epsilon naught. BdA is equal to, in magnetism, because we know that we have derived this particular concept or know this concept, in which we say that the magnetic field is always be in closed loops, closed loops. So net magnetic flux in a closed loop is 0. In a particular closed loop is 0. And then next one is Faraday's law. The EDL is nothing but induced EMF. We know that this particular relation EDR is equal to potential difference minus d phi b by dt, where phi b is nothing but the magnetic flux. And this particular last equation we have just derived the last equation. This is electric flux and this is magnetic field, means both the terms are related to each other. Are you able to understand my point or not? IC is the current passing through the conductor, and this is nothing but the displacement current. This is nothing but the displacement current. So in a space, in any region, there may be two kinds of current. One is conduction and other one is displacement current. Are you able to understand my point or not? Now next is electromagnetic waves. But the basic concept what we have derived from the particular previous section is that if there is a rate of change of electric field and rate of change of magnetic flux, okay. So we have studied the particular concept that the static charge will produce an electric field, and if charge is moving with particular velocity v, that will produce your magnetic field, okay. If charge is produced, if charge is moving with, if particular charge is moving with, if charge is moving with an acceleration, if charge is moving with an acceleration, mean to say that let's say any charge is moving with acceleration a is moving with acceleration a, then electric field is changing with time or not. Mean to say that electric field is changing with time. If electric field is changing with time, it will create a magnetic field. It will create magnetic field which will be perpendicular to the electric field. Now if this electric field is changing with time or charge is accelerating, this magnetic field is also changing with time, If magnetic field is changing with time or magnetic flux is changing with time, it will create electric field which is changing with time. Mean to say that electric field is producing magnetic field and magnetic field is producing electric field. Are you able to understand my point or not? Electric field is producing magnetic field and magnetic field is producing electric field, and in that particular situation a waveform is produced. This particular situation, or you can say electric field and magnetic field is moving in a wave perpendicular to each other, and also in the direction of perpendicular to the direction of this particular wave, and the wave is known as electromagnetic wave, which is basically the name of this chapter. Are you able to understand my concept or not? Okay, are you able to understand particular idea or not? Okay, the accelerating charges, the charging in which speed is not constant, that particular charge is produced electromagnetic waves. That particular charges will produce electromagnetic waves. Are you able to understand my concept or not? And these are basically waves. This is the simple example of electromagnetic wave. The wave is moving in z direction. Z means wave is moving in z direction. Electric field is in x direction. Electric field is in x direction, and magnetic field is in is in y direction. Are you able to understand my point or not? This will always not the case. Wave can be moved in x direction, then E and B will be there accordingly in z and y direction. Okay, if the equation of this particular wave can be written as E E naught sine kx minus omega t, and no, it's not x, it is basically z. wave is moving in z direction. This equation can be written as, here you will write k z ex, x is the direction of electric field. You can write the value of magnetic field in by e naught sine kz minus omega t. You can write the equations in this particular form. Here z is showing the direction of wave in which wave is basically moving, and x and y shows the value of electric field and magnetic field. Are you able to understand my point or not? Now k is nothing but, you can say, wave vector or wave number, and it is nothing but 2 pi by lambda. Lambda is nothing but wavelength. Lambda is nothing but wavelength. This particular formula you should know for solving this particular all the examples. Okay, k is wave vector, all everything. Z is okay, e naught. Okay, here is not e naught. I made a mistake. This is not e naught. This is b naught. This is b naught, and e naught and b naught are the amplitude or the maximum value of electric field and magnetic field respectively. Okay, e naught and b naught are the amplitude or the maximum value of electric field and magnetic field. Are you able to understand my point or not? Omega is nothing but angular speed. Angular speed, and which can be written as, angular speed is 2 pi into mu. 2 pi into mu, and the mu is nothing but frequency of the wave. Mu is nothing but frequency of the wave. And what is the meaning of frequency? Frequency is the number of cycles completed in one cycle, and 1 by mu is equal to t. T is nothing but the time period of the wave. Time period, the time taken by the wave to complete one cycle. Okay, are you able to understand my point or not? And this particular electromagnetic wave is moving with the speed of light. This particular electromagnetic wave, one more thing, electromagnetic wave moving with speed of light in vacuum, which is nothing but c. is equal to 3 into 10 raised to power 8 meter per second. Are you able to understand my point or not? If this particular electromagnetic wave is produced, and this particular wave is produced by accelerating of charges, and which contains a wave which have two components, electric field and magnetic field, which are perpendicular to each other, and also they are perpendicular to the direction of wave. Are you able to understand my point or not? One more relation you will get. Omega is equal to c into k. C is the velocity of light. Omega is 2 pi. V is equal to c into 2 pi by lambda. Are you able to understand my point or not? 2 pi by 2 pi will cut each other, and the frequency, or you can say the wavelength, is nothing but speed of light divided by frequency. Speed of light by frequency. One more relation you will get. The speed of light is also written as 1 by permittivity of basically permittivity of free space, and mu naught basically magnetic permeability of free space. Okay, this is the situation in vacuum, and if light is passing through, or this particular electromagnetic wave is passing through another medium, then the velocity can be written as 1 by under root permittivity and permeability of that particular medium. Okay, you don't have to dive, you have to not to get the all the derivations, because in this particular chapter in your syllabus you have to just remember these four all the formulas and how to apply all these formulas. That is the basic concept. That is the basic concept. Are you able to understand my point or not? Okay, so let's see how to use these formulas in this particular examples. One more basic formula is there. The relation between the amplitude of E naught and B naught is nothing but E naught is equal to C into B naught, which is also an important formula. C is basically speed of light, B naught is amplitude of light, and amplitude of magnetic field, and E naught is the amplitude of electric field, or maximum value of electric field. Are you able to understand my point or not? Sorry. Next is a plane electromagnetic wave of frequency 25 megahertz travel in free space along x direction. At a particular point in free space, E is the direction of 6.3 j. What is B at that particular point? And the relation between, we have just find the relation. The wave is moving in x direction. Then we know that the direction of E cross B will give the direction of is the direction of wave. Mean to say that if this is x direction means I direction, then E is in j direction, then should be the cross product k. So magnetic field should be in k direction. And the value of magnetic field at that particular point, the value of magnetic field at that particular point will be nothing but 6.3 divided by C. We have just learned the formula. 6.3 3 into 10 raised to power 8 k cap. Are you able to understand my point? Why we have take this particular k? Why we have take this particular point k? And after solving this, you will get your answer. Okay. Are you able to understand my point? Next question is, the magnetic field in a plane electromagnetic wave is written by this. This is basically the magnetic field. You have to find the answer. Okay, you can relate this particular equation. We have just write By is B naught sine omega sine and kx minus or plus omega t, plus minus omega t. Are you able to understand my point or not? B naught is the maximum value of magnetic field. Then this k, the multiple of x, can be written as 2 pi by lambda. Then you have to find the value of, from here you will get the value of lambda, because the value of k is 0.5 into 10 to the power 3 is equal to 2 pi by lambda, or wavelength. You will easily get the value of wavelength. Okay, are you able to understand my point or not? And this omega can be written as, omega is nothing but 2 pi into frequency, and here omega is 1.5 into 10 raised to power 11, 2 pi into frequency. You will easily get the value of frequency. Are you able to understand my point or not? And next is, write an expression for the electric field. If basically you can say that this particular wave is in x direction, y is the direction of magnetic field, then electric field has the direction in z direction. This is the Ez. And what is the value of maximum value of E naught? We know the relation E naught by C is equal to B. So E naught is equal to B naught into C, and the value of B naught is 2 into 10 raised to power minus 7 into 3 into 10 raised to power 8. Are you able to understand my point or not? This is basically B naught into C, and the remaining will remain same, sine 0.5 into 10 raised to power 3x plus 1.5 into 10 raised to power 11. This will be the answer. This will be the answer. Are you able to understand my point or not? How to write the equations and how to compare these equations will be written in this particular form. Are you able to understand my point or not? Next is electromagnetic spectrum. Now electromagnetic spectrum is nothing but the different electromagnetic waves which have different value of frequencies as well as wavelength Okay, we have discovered so many types of electromagnetic waves, and the waves are nothing but the gamma rays, x-rays, ultraviolet, visible, in infrared, microwave, and in vacuum. All these waves are moving with the speed of light. Are you able to understand my point or not? These are the electromagnetic spectrum. As we move from gamma rays to long radio waves, wavelength will increase. If wavelength will increase, then frequency will decrease. Mean to say that gamma rays has shortest wavelength and highest frequency, and radio waves has longest wavelength and shortest frequency. Are you able to understand my point or not? That's why this is electromagnetic spectrum. Means the electromagnetic waves are arranged in such a way according to you can say descending order of their frequency and ascending order of their wavelengths. Are you able to understand my point or not? And these are some electromagnetic waves. First one is radio waves. Radio waves are produced by the accelerated motion of charges in conducting wires. This is basically a theory part you have to understand. These are used in television communication, and the basic this is the frequency. And after that, microwaves are short wavelength radio waves with frequencies in gigahertz range. They are produced by special vacuum tubes like this particular magnetrons and the gun diodes. Application include radar, speed guns, and microwave oven. The microwave oven what they did, they absorb the water molecule, and they basically water molecules absorb these particular microwaves and raise the temperature. Increase in temperature. Infrared waves are produced by hot bodies and molecules, and these band lies adjacent to low frequency or long wavelength of the visible light. Okay, and infrared waves are sometimes referred as a heat waves, which is infrared rays. Basically you can say the raise in temperature. Okay, and you will feel hotness due to this infrared rays. And next is water molecules present in tiny material readily absorb infrared waves, and that will also increase the you can say temperature. Visible rays, we know that the basic is VIBGYOR, violet, P for violet, and R for R for red. V has a maximum frequency and minimum wavelength. Red has maximum frequency, maximum wavelength and minimum frequency. Okay, these are the basic points you can say related to visible rays. Next is ultraviolet rays. Ultraviolet rays has they are produced by very hot bodies and the special lamps. Most ultraviolet radiation is absorbed by the ozone layer, and these are the other points related to ultraviolet rays. You have to understand and memorize all these points, because all these points are basically theoretical concepts. Okay, next is X-rays. X-ray is the light beyond the ultraviolet region of the electromagnetic spectrum, and X-rays are used basically they cannot pass through a hard material. And next is gamma rays. Gamma rays are basically nothing but they have the maximum frequency in electromagnetic spectrum, and these can pass through your you can say any many hard materials. They can also pass through many hard materials. And the gamma rays are used in medicine to destroy cancer cells and and basically sterilize equipment. This is the all about the all type of electromagnetic waves or electromagnetic rays. Are you able to understand my point or not? You have to memorize all the basic points related to all these electromagnetic waves to basically to you can say to solve a subjective question जो based on totally a theoretical concept. If someone asks you to write a short note on gamma rays, then you have to write all these particular points. Okay, so this is the basically the summary of this all particular rays. Okay, so you have to memorize this for your board exam. You have to memorize this for your board exams. Are you able to understand my point or not? So next is the exercise part. So question number 1 is a figure 8.5 shows a capacitor made up of two circular plates, each of radius 12 cm and separated by 5 cm. The capacitor is being charged by an external source. The charging current is constant and equal to 0.15 ampere. Okay, so first is to calculate the capacitance. Capacitance can be calculated by is nothing but epsilon naught A by D. Here D is 5 cm and area for a circular plate will be pi r square. You will easily get your answer. Second one is and the rate of change of potential difference between the plates. Rate of change of potential difference. We know that rate of change of potential difference. Rate of change of inside the plates. The here the displacement current is 0.15 ampere. So you know that d phi e by dt into epsilon naught is nothing but is basically displacement current, and the value of displacement current is id is nothing but 0.15. Then d phi can be written as d phi e can be written as e into a by dt is dea by dt is id by epsilon naught. E into a is also constant, or a is also constant, and e is equal to e into you can say e into d. E into what is the value of electric field? If you want to compare electric field, E into D is equal to V, then V by D is equal to E. You will get, in place of E you will write V by D into A dt is equal to id by epsilon naught. Then dv by dt is equal to id d divided by a epsilon naught, which is nothing but the capacity. So id by c is nothing but dv by dt. You can solve this by this particular basic ideas. We know that E into D is equal to potential difference. So here the question is rate of change of potential difference. So we can reach this particular result by solving this particular basic parameters. Okay, so you can easily put the value of C which we have derived here. So you can easily find the value of this rate of change of potential. Second question is obtain the displacement current across the plates. The displacement currents across the plates is equal to the conduction current, which is 0.15 ampere. Because inside the capacitor there will be no conduction current, and if there is no conduction current, then its value will be equal to displacement current, because both the currents will produce the same magnetic field at a particular point P inside or outside the capacitor. Okay, next is Kirchhoff's rule valid at each plate of the capacitor? Yes, because at each particular point I is equal to nothing but id plus IC. IC is conductor current and ID is displacement current. Are you able to understand my point or not? 8.2 a parallel plate capacitor made up of circular plates each of radius 6 cm has a capacitance this. The capacitor is connected to a 230 volt AC supply with the angular frequency of this. What is the RMS value of conduction current? For RMS value, you have to find the value of impedance, and this is basically the case of only this is the case of capacitor. So you have to find the value of capacitive reactance. You have to find the value of capacitive reactance, and the value of capacitive reactance is nothing but 1 by omega c. 1 by omega c, and the 1 by omega c is nothing but 2 pi frequency into capacity. So in this way you will find the value of xc, and if xc you have find the value of this particular capacitive reactance, then the IRMS is nothing but VRMS divided by XC XC, and VRMS is 230, and XC you have find the value of XC. This is the value of XC. After solving this, you will get the value of IRMS. If this is the value of IRMS, then I maximum will be, what is the maximum value of I maximum is 230 by XC into root 2. We have studied this particular concepts in alternating current in the chapter of alternating current. So you will get the value of I max. So is the conduction current is equal to the displacement current? Yes. Okay, the value will be same, because at a particular point which is part of different loops will give the same value of magnetic field. Next is determine the amplitude of B. So amplitude of B means maximum value of B, maximum value or amplitude, and amplitude can be written as the formula was mu naught R I naught divided by 2 pi R square. R is basically small r is nothing but 3 centimeter. I naught is the value of I maximum, because I max will produce the value maximum value of B naught. R is the radius of this particular capacitor, and you will get the value, you will get your answer. Are you able to understand the point or not? These all chapters are interrelated. Don't get confused. This is not out of syllabus, or you can say this is not a new question. This is basically related to the chapter of alternating current and the chapter of the moving charges and magnetism. Are you able to understand my point or not? Next is 8.3. What physical quantity is the same for X-rays of wavelength this and red light of wavelength this? I think the same will be the, you can say, the speed, because both will move with the speed of light. Okay, speed of light. Next is 8.4. A plane electromagnetic wave travels in vacuum along z direction. Okay, what can you say about the direction of electric and magnetic field? Obviously the values, or you can say that the electric field and magnetic field will be in, if electric field is moving in x direction, and magnetic field moving in y direction, magnetic field is moving in y direction. Okay, because this direction is I, its direction is j cap, and z direction means k cap, then I cross j is equal to k cap. Okay, this is the basic concept. Are you able to understand my point or not? Next is a radio can tune into any station this is the value of 7.5 megahertz to 12 megahertz band. What is the corresponding wavelength band? Okay, the wavelength is nothing but c by frequency, c by mu. Here c is the speed of light and mu is the frequency. In first case you will get the value of lambda 1, and in second case by just putting the value of frequency you will get the value of lambda 2, and the c is nothing but speed of light, which is 3 into 10 raised to power 8 meter per second. Okay, next is 8.6. A charged particle oscillates about its mean equilibrium position with the frequency of 10 raised to power 9. What is the frequency of the electromagnetic wave? The frequency will remain same, because the frequency of wave will depend upon the frequency of source, and here the frequency is charge particle. Here the main source is you can say charge particle. Okay, always remember this point. The frequency of charge particle is equal to the frequency of wave. Are you able to understand my point or not? Okay, next is 8.7. The amplitude of the magnetic part of a harmonic electromagnetic wave in vacuum is 510 nanotesla. What is the amplitude of electric field? We know the relation E naught is equal to C into B naught. You will get the value of just 3 into 10 raised to power 8, and magnetic field is 510 into 10 raised to power minus 9, and you will get the answer. Are you able to understand my point or not? Next is, suppose that the electric field amplitude of electromagnetic wave is this and the frequency is this. You have to find the value of B naught. B naught is nothing but E naught by C, and E naught is written as 120. So 120 by 3 into 10 raised to power 8. You will get your answer. Second, you have to find the value of omega. And you have to find the value of omega. You have to find the value of omega, and we know that omega is nothing but 2 pi into frequency. So 2 into 3.14 into frequency is nothing but 50 into 10 raised to power 6. You will get omega. Okay, are you able to understand my point or not? Then you will get the value of lambda. Lambda is nothing but C by frequency. 3 into 10 raised to power 8 divided by 50 into 10 raised to power 6. You will get the value of lambda or wavelength. Okay, now the value of k is nothing but wave vector is equal to 2 pi by lambda, and the lambda, you can write the value of lambda from here. You will get the result. Are you able to understand my point or not? Okay, now you have to write suppose that electric wave, that frequency, find the expression. Then E and B can be written as E. We know that, let's say E is moving in x direction, then you will write E naught. E naught can be 120 sine. You have also find the value of omega. You can kx. Let's say wave is moving in z direction, kz minus omega t. Are you able to understand my point? And E naught is given, omega k you have find, and omega you have find ex. Then let by is equal to B naught. You have find the value of B naught, 120 by 3 into 10 raised to power, then sine of again kz minus omega t. In place of k, you will write the value of 2 pi by lambda, and in case of omega, you will write the value of 2 pi into frequency, 2 into 3.4 into 50 into 10 raised to power 6. Are you able to understand my point or not? This is the basic idea how to write the equation. Okay, in this particular chapter, all the questions basically related to directly formula based question. Next is the terminology of different parts of the electromagnetic spectrum is given in the text. Use the formula E is equal to h mu and obtain the photon energy in units of eV, electron volt, for different parts of electromagnetic spectrum. In what way are different scales of photon energies that you obtain related to the source of electromagnetic radiation? Okay, so you have to write, if E is equal to h is basically nothing but basically Planck's constant, and the value of E is this particular h is 6.6 into 10 raised to power minus 34 joule second, and the frequency is C by lambda. C is nothing but 3 into 10 raised to power 4. If you convert this particular energy in electron volt, you have to write 6.6 into 10 raised to power minus 34 into C divided by 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 19 into lambda. Okay, so you will get the relation 6.6 into 10 raised to power minus 34 into 3 into 10 raised to power 8, 10 raised to power 8, you will get 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 19 into lambda, and energy will be in the form of electron volt. And if you change the value of lambda or wavelength from this particular electromagnetic spectrum, you do not have to remember all the value of lambda, but you can just put the value of lambda one by one. You have to put, for in first case, the lambda for gamma rays. In second case, you have to write the value of lambda, this wavelength, for X-rays, and so on. You will get the value of different values of energies. You will get the different values of energy. Are you able to understand my point or not? Next is, in a plane electromagnetic wave, the electric fields oscillate, and this particular, all this particular h mu and all this we will discuss this particular concept in your 11th chapter. 11th chapter, that chapter is basically related to the dual nature of radiation and matter. Okay, so don't get confused. We will study this particular concept in your chapter number 11. Next is, in a plane electromagnetic wave, the electric field oscillates sinusoidally at a frequency of this and amplitude this. This is related to the electric field. Then what is the wavelength of the wave? Wavelength of the wave. Wavelength of the wave can be written as, you know the relation, wavelength is nothing but c by, you can say c by mu. You will get the value of c. C is nothing but the you can say speed of light, and mu is frequency, which is, so you will get the value 2 into 10 raised to power 8 divided by 2 into 10 raised to power 10. You will get the value of lambda. Then what is the amplitude of the magnetic field? Then the magnetic field is nothing but E by C. So the E is nothing but 48, and divided by 3 into 10 raised to power 8, you will get the value of B part. This is A, this is B, and the C is, show that the average density of E field equals the average energy density of B field. Remember, in an example, I think in case of electromagnetic induction, when we were doing the concept of self-inductance and mutual inductance, we have discussed that the particular concept, the energy density of electric field, in case of electric field, energy density is half epsilon naught E square, and in case of magnetic field, this is this E for energy, this E for energy, and for magnetic field the value will be 1 by 2 mu naught B square. That was the relation. That was the relation in case of energy density. Here you have to find the average density is equal for, in an electromagnetic wave, the average both carry the equal average energy. Okay, we know the relation E is equal to C into B, E is C into B. Then E is equal to 1 by epsilon naught mu naught for vacuum. After squaring both sides, E square divided by E naught epsilon naught into mu naught B square. Then this epsilon naught E square is equal to B square by mu naught, by multiplying both sides by 1 by 2 epsilon naught E square is equal to 1 by 2 mu naught B square. You will get your relation. Both have equal energy densities. You have equal energy density. Okay, are you able to understand my basic concepts or not? Okay, I hope you are getting all the concepts very clearly. Okay, so keep studying, keep practicing, try to solve all the question by yourself. It will boost your confidence. And if you like my content, you can subscribe, comment and like on this particular video. So thank you so much. That's all from my side. Take care. Have a nice time. God bless you.